Basically, the problem I'm working on is sort of the prototype is couple comes into a financial advisor, let us say. They've just retired, they've got Social Security or some government program, they may have some annuities, but then they've got some money. Their retirement savings, either within a retirement plan or possibly outside. And the question is, what do they do with that money? And how do they make it through the rest of their lives, having income for that period? If they invest it, in what do they invest it? How do they spend it? What rules do they use? If they buy an annuity or some other insured product, what might it be? What are the implications of different strategies? What are the properties? To what extent is the strategy less efficient than it need be? So those are the kinds of questions I'm looking at. Certainly, the structure I've used is what I call retirement income scenario matrices, which is a mouthful. But the idea is to think of a strategy or set of strategies as producing incomes in different years, in different scenarios. So you have what amounts to a matrix, or think of it as a giant spreadsheet, 100,000 possible future scenarios, future histories, and each one of which produces income in different years, dependent on who's alive in that scenario in different years, et cetera, et cetera. And so to think of an investment, a retirement income strategy as producing numbers in such a matrix, and then thinking about what would be desirable properties of those numbers, how you can get your arms around their properties, compare the numbers from one strategy with the numbers from another strategy, and so forth. Lifetime withdrawal benefit, it's typically called. This is a strategy which involves typically a mutual fund company that provides an investment vehicle and an insurance company that provides certain guarantees in terms of what you will have in money to spend while you're alive, independent, or at least partially independent of what happens to the value of your portfolio. And the basic idea, and there are variations on this theme, is that you get to spend 4.5%, let's say, in the first year of the current value of the portfolio. And then the mutual fund company takes its fees, the insurance company takes its fees, and then you see how much money you have. I mean, if you have more money than you had the year before, then you get to spend 4.5% of that larger amount. So it's what's called a ratchet. The amount you get to spend, at least in nominal terms, can go up, depending on market performance, but can never go down. And if at some point you run out of money, the insurance company will then continue to provide that level of income that which you had the last year until you, or maybe both of you, if there are two, die. So it has this very complicated investment plus annuity type insurance. And so it's a complicated product, and it's interesting to run it through the kind of software that I've provided to see what some of the properties might be. Ideally, we would have lockbox annuities, which is the kind of strategy I'm going to describe in a second, but with an annuity feature that an insurance company guarantees you will get money till you die. But we don't have those. So this is something you can do at home, make yourself. You just establish a series of lockboxes, one for each future year. And initially in each one, you put shares in a broadly diversified, preferably bond and stock portfolio, and probably some TIPS, Treasury inflation protected securities. It's hard for me to say. or some other instrument that's very low in risk and is protected against inflation. So in each one you have some combination of those two instruments, and then you just wait, and each year you open the lockbox that has the year number on it, and you sell the shares, and then you spend the money. So it's really quite simple, but there are many interesting aspects of how you might choose to allocate your funds among those lockboxes. And then you have the possibility, and undoubtedly in many cases desirability, of combining that kind of strategy with either an annuity that you purchase now that doesn't start paying until, say, 20 years from now, a deferred annuity, or possibly having another lockbox with some tips and shares in it, which you can open, say, 20 years from now and then buy an annuity with whatever it's worth. So there are all those interesting combinations.